Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo. What is up? Guess what? For the first time ever, I am streaming both live simultaneously on Twitch and YouTube for the first time ever. I've never done it before, so hopefully all goes well. So whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or listening to the audio replay of this, I think we're going to have a good time, everyone. So holy cow, it's literally been, I don't know, over a year and a half. I don't even know how long anymore since I've attended a live professional wrestling event. So for those of you who do not know, I was at AEW Double or Nothing this weekend, which means this is why my show is essentially running an entire day after, because I had to wait to come back home so that I can actually use my equipment, because it would have just been like a nightmare to actually travel with it. So today I will be going over the show, talking about my live experience at the show, and kind of giving you guys more of a 411 of how the live crowd was, what it was like, especially given that we are starting to open things back up again. And this was one of the, first events that is really getting like this a full crowd going. Moving forward, we're going to have crowds in wrestling, and this really was one of those ones to kick it off, and it was absolutely crazy, everyone. Every single person at Daly's Place in Jacksonville was losing their mind for everything, so it was a lot of fun. So now, before we get started, I do want to let you all know that while you're here, this is a very interactive stream, so I will be reading your comments, your questions, your statements. If there's anything that you want to know or you're curious about and you're like, hey, Denise, I really want to know this, feel free to send it in a comment and I'll try to see it. If you do want me to see it and you're like, I really need her to see this, if you are watching on the YouTube end of things, you can send in a super chat and I will be making sure to read your super chats. Those will be read. For sure, they will be read. So here we go. I'm actually going to kick it off with our first super chat of the day. And this one is from Mike Joyce, who says, hope you had a great day meeting all your friends and enjoyed Double or Nothing. And thank you for doing this. You must be extremely exhausted. Dude, I am what you call so tired. So I'm on the West Coast, as you all know. I'm those lucky people that get to watch wrestling really, really early. Like 5 p.m. is a start time for me. By like 8, 9 p.m., I'm pretty much done for the day. But obviously, being in Florida, it was midnight already. I'm looking at the clock and I'm thinking, oh my God, the main event is still going on. We still have the media scrum to do. I still have to get home and pack my stuff. And my Lyft is picking me up at 4 a.m. for an early flight out of Jacksonville. So it was just nonstop, but I'm really glad that I did it. I'm hoping that I do not get tired later today watching Raw. So hopefully Raw is good today, because I do not want to get tired watching the show. We actually have another super chat. This one's from Brandon Rosen, who says, it's a shame that you and SRS have to watch Raw after a kick-ass show like Double or Nothing. Oh wow, better you than me. Thanks, Denise. Double or Nothing was definitely kick-ass, and it is going to be very different experience today with Raw, but I'm hoping for a good show. That's the thing about me. I always go in hoping for a good show, even if that's considered foolish by some. We have another super chat from Christian Baltimore, who says, what did you think of Brian Cage's Terminator outfit? Luke Owen thought that it was stupid. Well, my good friend Luke Owen is absolutely wrong. I thought that it was phenomenal, and I'm actually going to use your super chat into a segue into our first match of the night. So I'm going to recap everything in chronological order from the main portion of the show, kind of give you guys my thoughts. Also, as for those of you who do tune into my prior streams, I am a little bit more detailed in some of my other shows. However, as you guys know, because I was there, I was not able to take in-depth notes the way I usually do. So a lot of this will be based off of memory and more so of actual experience being there and how I felt about the show, how the crowd felt about the show. So this will be a little bit different than some of my other shows, but we're going to go ahead and do it, and we're going to have some good times. And I'm going to want all of your guys' thoughts on this. So here we go. Let's kick things off with Hangman Page defeating Brian Cage in the opening match of AEW Double or Nothing. How did you all feel about this match? Because I gotta say, It was the perfect way to kick off the main show. And the reason for that is, holy dang, like when I think of some of the people that got the biggest pops of the night, I'm thinking, okay, Jungle Boy, Britt Baker is obviously one of them. Sting, people went wild for him. But one of those people that really got a momentous, not just a pop, but like one that lasted a really long time. Like it wasn't just like a big old like, yeah, he's here, woo, you know? No, this one actually lasted a very long time. And that was for none other than Hangman Adam Page. I don't think I can emphasize this enough, but Adam Page has definitely won the hearts of the AEW fan base because people love this guy, and was very more so obvious being there than actually seeing it on TV. And I'm sure that the TV viewers watched the show at home got it because it was very, very obvious. Now, when it came to Brian Cage and his gear and how he looked, dude, the second Brian Cage walked out, I swear to God, it was like this giant beast of a man coming out, and he looked badass with his gear, the Terminator stuff. I thought he looked really, really cool. I didn't think that it looked stupid. If anybody here thought it looked stupid, I didn't. I actually loved it. I thought he looked really cool, and I'm really glad that he actually went out of his way to like incorporate some new gear. Like we got to see a lot of people wearing some really cool gear on this show, but I thought he was one of those people that really, really stood out, and I like that because why not? You're having your first major pay-per-view back in front of, an actual real full crowded audience. So might as well go all out. We have a match here. Super chat from Dalen Prada who says, did you see the buy-in match? I did see the buy-in match, and it was really, really awesome. And the only reason that I'm skipping it for right now is just because we have like so much to get to on the main show. So I'm like hoping we get it all in. But Serena Deeb and Riho went out there and literally killed it, okay? They had the crowd in the palm of their hands, and you could even argue that it was one of the best women's matches of the night. Obviously, that's up to everybody's different opinions, but I thought it was definitely up there. So thank you so much to Dalen for sending in this super chat. We actually have another super chat from Dagon S. Brad who says, hi, Denise. Shout out to the Twitch homies. Jealous you were there live, but I got to see it at Cinemark on the big screen, which was dope. Dude, I was wondering about that, how it was for the people that got to watch it in the theaters. I've never seen a wrestling event in the theater, so I can only imagine how much fun that must have been as well, which must have been really cool. So thank you so much to Dagon for sending in this super chat. And I'm going to go ahead and start reading some comments here, and then we're going to recap a little bit more of what actually went down in this actual match. But we have one from Fasuda Freedom who says, the match was awesome, and the setting sun really made wonders for it. Hangman brought his cowboy shit for a wondrous standoff with Cage, complemented by the sunlight shining into the ring. Was it really shining into the ring? So BTW, for those of you who do not know, AEW was not actually showing what was happening in the ring on the big screen TV. So a lot of stuff was sometimes not seen for the live audience if they went to the outside. They did start like whenever the wrestlers would go to the outside of the ring, they would pop up the big screen, but there were some times where it wasn't as fast. So there were certain things that weren't seen. And then obviously I didn't see what the TV audience was seeing. So I had no idea the sunlight was shining in on this match. All I knew was that sunlight was hitting all of us directly in the face. So that's all I know there. But here we go. To add to this comment though, the reason why I personally really enjoyed this match, honestly for me, was really the fact that Hangman Page, you look at him, all right, he's athletic, all of that. But when it comes to comparing his size to Brian Cage, he's not necessarily Brian Cage when it comes to the physique and looking like a monster. So when he was in there with Brian Cage, he did a lot of things that you're like, dude, holy dang, you are so strong. And that's what I liked. I liked that they actually showed a lot of his strength and a lot of his power. And they did so with the perfect opponent, which was Brian Cage. Brian Cage was the perfect person to actually show show a little bit more of the versatility that we haven't yet seen in Hangman Page, or that we've seen in Hangman Page, but sort of take it up that extra level. So I really like that. At the top of this match, we saw Cage go for a suplex, but Page flipped it into a sliding lariat, followed by a springboard clothesline. So a really fun, right from the start, they kicked things off really well. We saw Cage beat Page down with strikes and throws throughout this match. We saw a top row moonsault from Page to Cage, which was really awesome. The crowd really popped for that. Page hit an F5, which I thought was absolutely incredible, and attributed to the whole thing where I'm talking about the fact that he showed a lot of strength, and it really came across as really cool, especially because it was Brian Cage who was in the ring with him. We saw a couple of near falls, a lot of back and forth action. And then the moment that the AEW has been sort of planting the seeds for this Brian Cage babyface turn for a while now. And today, well, at AEW Double or Nothing was really when we got to see it flourish or officially break out. So we saw Ricky Starks and Hook come out and distract the referees. Starks passes the FTW championship bout to Cage so that he can hit Page with it, but instead he kind of looks at it and thinks like, nah, I don't want to go this direction. So he tosses it out of the ring and ends up arguing there with Hook. Afterwards, Page obviously takes the advantage here, seizes the moment, and ends up hitting him with the buckshot lariat for the win. And the crowd loved this. After the match, we got to see Cage and Starks kind of get in each other's face, and Cage subbed Starks and walked off. So how do you guys all feel about this new direction that AEW is heading with Brian Cage? Let's go ahead and see some of your comments here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and try to get as many as I possibly can, and we're going to go ahead and move in here. This is a comment from Redmond Survivor who says, Cage refusing to help Team Taz got a big pop too. Oh yeah, especially because like I said, a lot of people were starting to see it. The seeds had been planted for a while, but I don't even know if I was actually expecting for that to actually happen at this match. I thought for a second they were going to tease it a bit longer, but it kind of seems like they obviously definitely pulled the plug here. We have a comment from Ruben Furlong who says, Cage is so underrated. Glad they are separating him from Team Taz. Now you can have him go for the TNT title. I'm kind of like, here's the thing though, is that I've been a fan of Team Taz. Like I think Team Taz in terms of like promo work and in terms of really looking like a great stable together, all in all, I have been a fan of Team Taz, but there were certain weeks where I kind of really felt like they could have done a whole lot more with Team Taz, utilized them in different ways, and for a while it kind of took them a second to get there, and now obviously we've been seeing more. So obviously, you know, Ricky Starks is injured right now and all of that, but I'm kind of glad that they're breaking away Brian Cage from Team Taz as well, because I think it was starting to get a little steady where you were thinking, okay, well, what's next now for Brian Cage? What really is next? Because I do think that the people were expecting a lot more, especially given the way that he entered AEW in a really good, exciting manner per se. BTW guys, we are getting tons of comments. I am going to try to read as many as I possibly can. FYI, if you have a really great comment and you're thinking to yourself, dang it, Denise, I really need you to read this comment, you can go ahead and send it in a super chat. If you do send a super chat, not only do I get to keep whatever money I make from the super chat, I do get to go ahead and read your comment here on the stream. And yeah, that's always really fun. And let's see what else we got here, guys. I'm going to try to see a little bit more. Pretty much everybody here liking the show, but we're going to go ahead and move on to the following match here. So after this, we also had the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. This was between the Young Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, with obviously the Young Bucks retaining. Now, here we go. My prediction was obviously always that the Young Bucks were going to win. I figured it'd be way too early for them to lose the bout. So I wasn't necessarily going into this match with any sort of expectations that Moxley or Kingston were going to actually go ahead and win tonight. I was kind of more so just looking for an entertaining match. And that really was what they gave us. But one of the things that I really, really need to, or when you know what, one of the persons I feel that I really, really need to take a second to put over is Jon Moxley. Now, I know that it's super obvious given that everybody, you know, that tunes in every week to AEW Dynamite and has been following the product, sees how Jon Moxley adds a lot to who he is and what he does in the ring. And I think a lot of us already see that. And I had already seen that, obviously. But being there live, though, it was I felt a new level of respect for Jon Moxley. And the reason for that is the second, and I mean the second that he comes out, it is like TV does not do it justice. TV does not do there is a connection between the audience and Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston that I feel you could only really, really, really actually comprehend when you're there. And it was very obvious. Like the second he came in, oh man, you can tell he is in another mindset. And I really like that. To me, it brought things up to another level. And we have a question from Alex Aguilera who wants to know if I sang along to Wild Thing. Oh man, you know what? Them coming out to Wild Thing made it so much more exciting. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's a song that everybody knows. Everybody knows the words to iconic song, right? But I actually thought that it was a lot more fun for him to come out to Wild Thing. It just brought like this energy into the audience. It was so infectious. And mainly what I do like though is that Jon Moxley comes out and he's like looking pissed as fuck. Like he wants to beat some heads off. But then you have Eddie Kingston in the back who just comes out and he's like super chill. And Moxley literally ran right past by me. I couldn't even snap a picture. He was way too fast. But Eddie Kingston, he kind of stopped me in my tracks because he was really just like, yeah, we're here. I'm coming out. And, obviously he comes out with a totally different attitude, obviously. And so here we go. The fight started between these four guys before the bell even rang. Moxley and Kingston attacked the Young Bucks during their entrance, and they literally started brawling. They started brawling even before the match even started. And it kind of felt like it went a while where when they actually rang the bell, I was kind of like, oh, snap. I completely forgot they haven't even rang the bell yet and even made it official. So they literally, this match was, to me, it felt very aggressive, and I think that's mainly what I actually liked about it, especially towards the latter portion of this match, because we saw some interference here with Doc Gallows, with Carl Anderson, with Frankie Kazarian. Although for a second though, watching from the live audience though, I think it was when Frankie Kazarian came out that it took me a second where I was like, what's going on? Like, what is going on here? So it was kind of a little hard to tell what was going on being in the live audience, trying to piece things together. So this didn't come across as clear to me being there. But even so, though, I really like that there was a big moment, obviously, when Matt sprayed the cold spray in Moxley's eyes, that everybody was just like, oh my God, it's obviously something that they've been doing. But even so, I don't think a lot of people expected it. It still kind of took everybody aback, where everybody's like, oh shoot, like, oh, this is how they're going to win. This is how they're going to do it. And it kind of made things kind of kick into like another level. So I liked mainly in this match was a lot of the storytelling that they did throughout it. So he sprays Moxley in the eyes with the cold spray, Matt Jackson, and then he gets Moxley, but Moxley ends up kicking out here. And then Moxley, at some point, he gets busted open on his forehead from that. And the guy is bleeding buckets, okay? I don't know how this came across on television, but sitting far away or like two sections behind, I can definitely see all of the blood, man. And at one point, we see the Bucks completely just annihilate Moxley. I mean, they have him there with his arms spread out. They're, kicking him. They're super kicking him. I know Moxley comes back with a double clothesline, but it's just too much. They hit him with the BTE trigger. He shrugs it off. they come back with, I think it was 4 more BTE triggers and essentially pinning Moxley for the win. And so I thought that finish was pretty hot, especially because it felt pretty violent and it really put over Moxley in the sense that he didn't just take it. They had to really, really, really take him down in order to actually pin him. So obviously the crowd was disappointed. I think people wanted to see Kingston and Jon Moxley actually pick up the win here, but it was pretty obvious that the Young Bucks would actually be winning here. MCAS P-Do 64 says, Denise loves blood. Hell yeah, I am that person that is really into like the blood and the gut stuff. I'm very, very interested in all of that type of stuff. All right, and let's see what else we got here. Send in your comments. What did you guys think of this match? Again, if you want your comment to be read, please send it in a super chat. Also helps me out because F4W does allow me to keep whatever money I make from super chats. So feel free to send these in. We have a comment from Nicholas who says, love the crowd cheering Kingston's name. He's probably the least star-powered wrestler in this match, but nice to see how far he has come since his time in AEW. I think that the pairing with him and Jon Moxley has really, really added a lot more to Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston came in and you had one idea of who he was, but adding Jon Moxley into this, I think added more to his character dynamic in sense of like, yeah, he's this thug. He's this guy who's not, you don't want to mess around with this guy. He'll kick your ass. But at the same time, he also has like a heart and a soul. And you see that with his friendship with Jon Moxley. So I really, really enjoy all of that. And let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Ghost Vacation who says, Eddie was cool AF, especially in front of that many people. Totally meant to be there. 100% here. And, okay, I'm going to go through a couple more here. What you guys thought about. Okay, this is a comment from Dave Langer who says, it was smart for AEW to change this to cover version of Wild Thing so the fans can sing to it easier. Yeah. I liked it. I had a good time. So I really like that as well. And all right, cool. So I'm going to go through a couple more. Okay, this one is from Joseph Oza who says, Eddie has benefited from teaming up with Jon. They have great chemistry. Last night showed that though he wishes they would have won the tag team championship. Now, I really felt that it was obviously too early. There's still so much more that they can do with the Young Bucks as champions, especially right now, because you kind of just want to hate them. Like they just do things that really, really just bothers you and you want to hate them as well. The Microbats wants to know what the atmosphere was when the Bucks won. It was a little just kind of like, aw, like you can see like the crowd was like here, like, oh, okay, this is happening. And then the Young Bucks win and it's like, aw, like the energy, you can feel the energy sinking down in the room. But then again, that's what you would expect though, right? The Bucks right now are heel. So that's obviously what you're going to get when they win here. So it was perfectly fine. Fits perfectly fine with the story that they're telling. So yeah, that's pretty much how that went all down. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next match. Actually, before we get to this next one, for those of you who are watching right now, friendly reminder, for those of you who do not know, I do go live 3 times a week on the F4W online YouTube channel. Not only do I cover NXT on Tuesdays, but I also cover AEW Dynamite on a weekly basis on Wednesdays. And then I also cover Friday night Smackdown. So it's a lot of wrestling to take in, but it's a whole lot of fun and also very interactive stream. So if you're on here and you're thinking, you know what, this is a pretty cool stream, you are more than welcome to join some of my other streams as well that are just like this too. Also, because AEW is being preempted again, each and every single time that AEW is preempted, I will be covering both AEW and Friday Night SmackDown together as I did so last week. So I will be doing that moving forward each and every single week that they are preempted. So let's go ahead and move on. All right, so here we go. We had one of the most exciting, glorious moments in, I feel like, AEW history. We had Jungle Boy winning the Casino Battle Royal for a shot at the AEW World Championship, which we now know is happening in 2 weeks. Jungle Boy is facing Kenny Omega for the title. And oh my God, guys, I cannot express how awesome this moment was, and then also afterwards to get to talk to Jungle Boy in the media scrum and just kind of seeing how he is and his attitude. It's just so hard to not root for this guy. It is so hard to not get behind him. He is so naturally likable. It's insane. It really is. We actually have a super chat from Mark Warburton. Thank you so much to Mark, who says, you called it with Christian entering first in the battle royal and going to the end. I'm glad they went with Jungle Boy, though. Definitely the right call. Dude, I was thinking the exact same thing. All right. So obviously during my predictions on Wrestling Observer Live with Brian Alvarez and Mike Sempervive on Friday, one of my predictions was that Christian Cage would be one of the first ones to enter in on this and then end up actually winning. However, I didn't, obviously I didn't know that Jungle Boy was going to be in the final three. So once I saw that Jungle Boy was one of the final three men in this, that is when I knew. I was like, okay, I don't care if my prediction is wrong. Christian made it this far. That's cool. I want to see Jungle Boy win. And I actually thought that if they would have had Matt or Christian Cage or anybody else that was announced in this match or that appeared in this match win, I don't think it would have gotten as over as it did when Jungle Boy won, especially with the final three guys. If Jungle Boy would have not won, I really, really do think it would have put such a big damper on the crowd, because as much as people like Christian Cage, as much as they respect Matt Hardy and all of that, at the end of the day, the Jungle Boy is really the one that people wanted to see win here. We actually have another super chat. This one is from Mike Joyce, who says, AEW has done a fantastic job making a superstar out of Jungle Boy. That was one of the things that was very noticeable throughout AEW today, because when you think about some of the people that I told you had some of the biggest pops of the night, I'm talking about Hangman Page, I'm talking about Jungle Boy, and I'm talking about Britt Baker. Those were some of the people that had some massive reactions. And when you think about all of these people, you think these are essentially new stars that AEW has really grown and elevated. So you see that, and it's really, really awesome. And that was one of the things that Jericho also touched on during the post media scrum, is he did talk about this too, the fact that, AEW wanted to make stars, and look at them. That's what they're doing now. And obviously this was a little bit more focused on the inner circle when he was talking about, Sammy and, everybody else. But he also sort of touched on this too, just in an overall sense with the AEW roster. We have another super chat from Dalen Prada, who says, don't you think it would have been better if Mark Henry was a Joker and threw out some geeks? Leo Rush came out and did nothing. Okay, so let's talk about Leo Rush. So he was obviously the mystery person. He came in as the Joker. Now, I feel that when a lot of people were thinking of who this mystery person was going to be, I don't recall very many people saying, oh, it would be Leo Rush. I think everybody had different expectations. And that's the thing, though, is that when people have different expectations of who a mystery person is going to be, chances are we're going to be let down. Let's not circle back to the whole debacle with Christian Cage and everything that went down at AEW Revolution. But obviously this one wasn't hyped up the way that one was, so it's different. But I do have to agree that as much as I like Leo Rush and I'm a fan of his work and I think he's so impressive, and I thought he was impressive when he came in here today, I did, for me personally, feel that I wasn't as excited for the reveal as maybe if it would have been somebody else. And I don't even know, because I didn't really have necessarily somebody that I thought, oh, this is the person that I really, really want, and oh, I would pop so hard for this person. I didn't really have anybody in mind. I mean, I had some ideas, but there wasn't a person that was set in stone for me that I really wanted to see. However, with that being said, I wasn't necessarily as blown out of the water with the reveal of Leo Rush. So what did you guys think? Did you like the reveal of Leo Rush? Do you think it's just too early to call? How do you guys all feel about all of this? Okay, let's see what we got here. We have a comment from Chris Cage 2X. It says, Leo Rush coming out in the Joker spot was fine, but he wasted that spot spending a little amount of time in the ring. Alex Aguilera says, in my heart, Penta was the real Joker of the match. Yeah, especially with the gear and all of that. And let's see what else we got here. This one's from Nicholas, who says, Lio Rush is AEW saying it's time to start a cruiserweight division. And this one's from Maurice Nixon, who says, wasn't mad at all with Lio Rush being the Joker. He's a talented young man. Hell yeah. Actually, let's use this to talk about a little bit about what he actually did in this match. So I know I'm jumping around, but I might as well just get the highlights. You guys saw the show. So he came in. He immediately hit a crossbody. We saw a reverse Hurricane Rana and eventually a Spanish Fly, but was eliminated by Matt Hardy. So he did come in. He came in really fast, did a lot of things, but was kind of out the door really fast too. And when it came to some of the big moments that I actually really enjoyed in this match, to be honest, I wasn't necessarily totally into this match up until really the end. I thought watching it in person, I was kind of just, there wasn't anything that necessarily grabbed my attention. It wasn't really, honestly, until Penta came out. I thought once Penta came out, he really livened things up, really livened up that match, because he came out and it was Penta being Penta. He came out, hit a ton of his awesome spots all around. He made it very exciting. The crowd was going nuts with Cero Miedo, so that was really fun. But I also did like that little brief moment that we got with Christian Cage and Matt Hardy. I thought that was pretty cool as well. I enjoyed seeing Jungle Boy and Penta go at it for a while. I actually thought that, this should have been obvious. I should have known that we should have known that Jungle Boy was going to win this Casino Battle Royal when he eliminated Penta. And the reason for that is Penta's a big deal. Penta, for him to be eliminated by somebody, as Jungle Boy, I actually thought it was a really great elimination for Jungle Boy and felt like a pretty big deal. So I felt like, if anything, that should have told me, like, in hindsight, I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, oh, dang, like, I should have known that Jungle Boy was going to win at that point during this match. And obviously, as I mentioned, we had the final three men where Matt, Christian, and Jungle Boy were the final three. And Christian eliminated Matt Hardy, which to me felt kind of symbolic, just given everything that they have done, obviously, during their times in their respective tag teams. This to me felt pretty cool and sort of symbolic. And then afterwards, we ended up seeing Jungle Boy winning after eliminating Christian. But the way that he eliminated Christian was also really awesome and a really, really great moment for this. So Christian pushes Jungle Boy into the ring post, and Jungle Boy then, rotates around the ring post so beautifully, and this looked great live, and backdrops Christian to the floor for the actual win here. So I actually love the finish. I thought the finish was fun. It felt unique. It was exciting. After the match, we saw Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt come out and celebrate, and we are getting the Kenny Omega Jungle Boy match in 2 weeks now. So one of the other things that I do want to talk about too. So when Jungle Boy was doing his post-media scrum, I mentioned that he's very likable and all of that, right? But one of the things that I thought was pretty cool to know, and I kind of already knew this, but I think kind of just hearing him say it again last night felt pretty interesting. And one of the things that he's always talked about, and I think this is pretty well known, that he gets a lot of nerves heading into these matches. Anytime that he's on TV, he gets really, really nervous. He talks about the fact that he'll throw up before a match and all of that. So it seems to me like the nerves really, really get to him. But then he talks about the fact that the second he hears his music, the second he hears the people go nuts for him, all of the nerves just kind of go away. And I thought that is such a beautiful thing, man. I am rooting for you, Jungle Boy. And we also talked about his growth during the pandemic, and he really attributed all of that to the fact that he's been able to work with great workers. And he obviously talks about that being part of the reason why he's actually grown as a contender, grown as a challenger. And we really have seen that, because, let's go back to that match that he had with Dax. Oh, I love that match. I wish we could see more and more of that for Jungle Boy. So it is pretty awesome. Alrighty, guys, and let's see what else we got here. And Alrighty, so BTW, friendly reminder once again, if you want to send in a super chat, you are more than welcome to. I will go ahead and read your comment, whether it be a comment, question, or statement. If you guys are curious about anything that may have gone down in the during the live show, if you're like, how did the crowd react to this? You can either wait till I actually talk about it, or if I forget to talk about it, you can go ahead and bring it up. Or if you want to know something about the post media scrum, how all of that went and how all of that went down, feel free to let me know, send in a question, and I will definitely go ahead and answer them. Yeah, this is a comment from Mayor that I feel like I need to bring up. This is in regards to Jungle Boy and him getting nervous. He says, wow, imagine how good he will be once the nerves settle. Oh, yeah. And I'm sure that's obviously going to come, with more experience, the more times he does this. Eventually, I hope eventually it goes away, because having nerves, I can only imagine how upsetting it must feel to always have that, to always have to have that. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and move on. So after this, all right, so this is where I feel like things are going to get a little controversial. And the only reason for that is, up until this point, I have loved everything on the show thus far. However, this next match, guys, I'm so sorry. If you were one of those people that were a fan of this match, you are totally going to hate me as of this moment. But the truth needs to be said. Oh my God, I did not, and I repeat, did not like Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. I don't know how this came across on television. Again, I have not watched the TV version, but this match really, in the nicest possible way, actually, there is no nice possible way. This match killed the crowd, guys. Literally killed the crowd. And I don't know what it was, man, but it was just not good. It was not interesting. I don't think the people, and going as far back as to the fact that the people didn't even really care about this story, I think that definitely hurt it. But then the actual match itself never hit a moment where you thought, oh, you know what? This is pretty good. I didn't care about it, 10 hours ago, but I care about it now. There's been so many times where I'm watching matches that I don't necessarily care about the story, but the match will go ahead and get me invested. No, this was the match, unfortunately, where I found myself not wanting to pay attention. If I fought a lot to actually pay attention to this match, where I kept this was the one where I kept looking around trying to see what the hell is happening, because everything else was more interesting than what was happening in the ring. And I feel so bad to say that, but as I was looking around, I saw other people looking around, and then I thought, you know what? People aren't interested in this match. And we actually have a super chat from Jesse Soto, who says, this match could have been an email. Dude, cancel my post show. Jesse Soto, you are hosting this show now, because that is the perfect way to say this. This match could have been an email. It was not good. And unfortunately, the reason this match ended up hurting the next two matches, it really, really did, in terms of the crowd was at a certain point, and then it just really, really brought them down. We actually have another super chat. Thank you so much to Holy Moly Donut Shop, who says, awesome pay-per-view. Cody damn near killed the vibe of the night. Keep up the great job, Denise. Hashtag no ranch. Dude, I feel bad because I'm a Cody fan. I like Cody. I'm a Cody fan, but this isn't it. I don't know what they got to do, but they need to switch things up right now with Cody, because lately the last several storylines that he's been a part of have probably been my least favorite portions of AEW. Like the whole thing with Shaq and Jade and Red Velvet, although the match itself that they had with Shaq was pretty good and all of that, but the whole story was not good. Then the whole thing with QT Marshall and leading into this match with Anthony Ogogo has not been interesting. And if anything, there was even some things that I was not a fan of. So it was very unfortunate that this was not good. And I do have to agree with this comment here. This one's from Curse, who says, I'm a Cody fan too, but he has got to turn heel. Yes, when it comes, and I'm seeing a lot of people here saying that Cody needs to turn heel. And I have to agree with this, because even when Cody Rhodes came out, I thought, you know what, I thought that he would still get a pop. And the reason for that is that obviously, he's still, a major part of this company. And I thought that people would sort of set aside the fact that maybe the Anthony Ogogo storyline really isn't that great. I thought they would set that apart and still cheer for Cody Rhodes. But no, I mean, there was a portion of the audience that I felt were like, yay, Cody Rhodes, I'm a fan, woo. But then there was other people that kind of were just there, like kind of just not even booing, not cheering. It was just there. It wasn't one of those things where like when Hangman Page came out or Britt Baker, when like their music hit, everybody stood up and was like, oh, stop everything you're doing. This person's out. Lose your mind, whatever. It was not like that with Cody Rhodes. And even when, when they announced the American Dream and the fact that he's going by the American Dream, I was kind of expecting a little pop there, even just for like the meaning of it all. And that wasn't even there either. So that was pretty interesting too. We actually have a couple more super chats. Thank you guys so much for sending these in. Once again, F4W is awesome enough to let me keep whatever money I make from super chats. So I really thank you guys for sending these. This one is from Brandon, who says, speaking for myself, the problem with it is that I'm not invested in the Cody QT feud overall. The booking's been boring and the weigh-in on Dynamite killed any interest. Look, when I was recapping AEW Dynamite this past Friday, I shared my 2 cents on that weigh-in, and that weigh-in was terrible. A lot of people were calling it the worst segment on AEW Dynamite, and I don't know if it was the worst segment, but it was bad, okay? It was not good. It was not interesting, and I just think that, like, even the promo that Cody Rhodes did, that was, a lot of people talked about it being controversial. I wasn't a fan of that promo, so it's just been, like, I don't feel like they had to go this route with Anthony Ogogo. I feel like they could have gone a different route. I didn't like the whole like US versus UK thing. Like that feels very, very outdated to me and obviously to a lot of other fans, because if it wasn't, then people would be more interested in this. So yeah, I definitely agree with what Brandon here has to say. We have another super chat from Jamie Guillen, who says, Cody feud with Penta was more interesting. Dude, hell yeah. Coming off of that from Revolution, the night after the Dynamite after Revolution, I believe when they had this match, and I remember thinking, oh, this is great, they're really refreshing it. This wasn't the match that the feud that I knew that I needed, and it started and then it ended. Like they didn't really give us a second to really soak it up. I personally did not feel like I got a real opportunity as a viewer, as a fan, as somebody that was interested in what they were doing with Penta and Cody. I didn't feel they actually gave me a moment to pause and enjoy it. So I do think that was probably the last thing that they did that was interesting with Cody Rhodes, was really what they were doing with him and Penta. And I think it came across as a little bit of a surprise, because when you start thinking of, dream feuds, dream matchups, I don't necessarily know how many people were thinking Cody versus Penta, but obviously now, based on what we've seen, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I enjoyed it when we were seeing it, but that's pretty much how I felt there. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go ahead, a couple more comments here. All right, so it kind of seems like really everybody is just on here we go. Let me read this comment. This one is from Zathara79, who says, if you're going to do a foreign heel angle, the heel country should be a country the U.S. is actually at odds with. The U.S. versus U.K. feud was resolved in the 19th century. I guess, like, yeah, right? I mean, it feels weird. It feels weird. Like, it doesn't feel believable to me. Like, just because this feud is happening, I'm supposed to hate everybody from the United Kingdom now. It feels fake. I don't like that. And I don't like that. I like to get into things that have quality. They have, they're not just one-dimensional stories. They feel real. The more realistic it is, the more I am bound to get invested in it. And that is why I could not get invested into the US versus UK thing. We have another super chat. Thank you so much to Chris Cage 2X, who says, Cody wins because America. I, as an American, he says, wanted Anthony Ogogo to win because America needs to be humbled, especially for their handling of the pandemic in 2020. So here's the thing. I, too, wanted Anthony Ogogo to win. And if you guys watch the Wrestling Observer Live predictions with Brian and Mike, we all wanted Anthony Ogogo to win. We all kind of felt like we all had maybe different reasons or so, but everybody's pick ended up being Anthony Ogogo for this one. My personal reason as to why I wanted Anthony Ogogo to win was because to me, it felt like they needed to make a new star. They needed to establish a new star, and they needed to do that with Anthony Ogogo. I thought that the way that they sort of kicked him off on Dynamite, I know a lot of people didn't really like what they were doing with him, but I did. I was a fan of that, and I thought they could have gone somewhere with that. I thought there was a better story to be told here, and obviously I'm not creative, but I feel like there could have been a better story being told here. Let's see what else we got here, guys. I'm going to try to read a couple more comments. This one's from Tara Bull, who says, the real feud was Cody's faction versus QT's faction. Why in the hell did Cody need to bring America and all of it? But yeah, so yeah, it started as one thing, right? Cody and QT. And then it kind of morphed into something else like overnight. It kind of did feel like they skipped a couple of steps to get here. So I do also agree with this as well. We have another super chat. Thank you so much to Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, who says, is it weird that I want to see Dustin versus Caveman Bobby Roode more than another Cody Ogogo match? Man, I think I'll probably take anything over a Cody Ogogo match. But you know what? With all of the things that I just said, though, I do want to take a second, though, to give a shout out. Oh, well, not a shout out, but maybe mention the fact that I didn't think that Anthony Ogogo looked terrible in this. I actually thought he looked fine. I thought he did his part in this match. He did his part, guys. To me, he did his part. I thought he did a good job, but obviously it wasn't enough given all the other circumstances surrounding this match. But it was what it was. Wrong guy won. This match killed the crowd. And I really do think that they should have swapped this match and the women's match. Now, it is not time yet to talk about the women's match because we do have a couple more matches to talk to before we get into that one. But let's go ahead and jump into the next one, everybody. And this one is, one second. All right, here we go. The next match we have is for the TNT Championship. Miro defeated Lance Archer here. So, oh my God, I was so happy when Lance Archer came out red hot and was ready to get this match going because, like I said, unfortunately, the Cody Ogogo match really killed the crowd. So I was craving something to get me reinvested in the show. I wanted to feel the momentum that I was feeling ahead, like when the show first started. Like when the show first started, I was like, yeah, like I'm so stoked. And then the next match happened, and ooh, this is good. And then I went from like here to, oh, I'm down here now. So I had to kind of work my way back up to getting, that reacquainted with my energy. So I really like the fact that Miro and Lance Archer came out here and they were literally two beasts colliding with one another. Again, they started this match red hot. So it felt good. It felt like you knew what kind of match you were going to get heading into this. We saw clotheslines from both of them. We saw big boots. We saw Archer walking on the ropes and, doing a moonsault. They literally went back and forth. Then there was a moment that I am curious as to how people watching this back home reacted to this. And, basically, we had Jake Roberts coming out with his bag that everybody's thinking that it's going to be, his snake or something, right? You think, oh, maybe it's a snake. So they're implying that there's a snake in it. And Miro ends up essentially beating down Roberts and tossing the bag with the snake across. And my section of people where I was sitting, everybody seemed to love this moment. I thought it was nice. I wasn't like crazy about it. I just thought like, oh, like, that's pretty funny. Okay, cool. But everybody else loved it. But then when I was talking to a friend that watched the show on TV, they said that the crowd kind of seemed like they weren't really that kind of killed the match for them in this one. So I am curious because it kind of feels like I got two different reactions from the people in the audience and the people on TV as to how they felt about this whole snake spot. Let me know what you guys thought about this. And really quickly, Miro did lock in the game over in order to win this actual match against Lance Archer. So let's see what we got here. Redmond Survivor says Miro throwing animals is a tried and true tradition. Zatharu says, reminded me of when Earthquake squashed Damien and then served the snake up as burgers. And then this one's from Joseph, who says, it was hard for him to care about this match considering what we just saw. I was watching it. Okay, I see. The Cody. Yeah, essentially Cody. Yeah, the Cody match really did put this match in a tough spot here. Sidham Freeham says that Robert's bit was horrible. It's abundantly apparent there was nothing in there, but I don't appreciate fictional animal abuse angles. Yeah, it was obvious that there was nothing in there. I would have actually, like, if you're going to do that, you might as well bring a real snake. I mean, don't throw the real snake, though. Like, do something else. Don't throw the real snake, though. Like, but if you're going to include the whole, there might be a snake, might as well actually use it, right? Get a little pop from the people like, oh my God, there's a snake. Don't throw the snake, but maybe come up with something else here. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, so I feel like some people liked it, some people didn't. Dave Langer says, I thought it was hilarious when Miro threw the snake bag. KD Window Cleaning says, Miro had a hilarious tweet, send PETA, I don't care, LOL, something like that. I actually asked Tony Khan, like as a joke, like a tongue-in-cheek question. I asked him like, hey, like, has PETA called you? But it was a joke, right? But he didn't get it. I don't think he got it. So I kind of felt like really embarrassed that Tony didn't get my question. So I kind of regretted it. I was like, oh man, I thought he was going to laugh, but he didn't. So that was kind of awkward, but what can you do? You live and you learn. All right, let's see what else we got here. This one is from Raishan Toronto, who says, the crowd still being down from the Cody match hurt the Miro Archer match, and even the beginning of Shida Britt Baker match, in my opinion. Rishan in Toronto, you are 100% correct, because we are about to jump into that right now, everyone. Let us talk about the AEW Women's Championship match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Hikaru Shida. And obviously Britt Baker won, but I feel so bad for these two. And the reason why I felt bad for them was because the beginning of this match was still hurting from the Cody match. Point blank. They went in there and they started wrestling like a really good match. But the problem was that because of the pace that they were working to tell this story, because obviously they were leading up to everything that they were going to do towards the end of the match, where we saw all of those near falls. So they were going somewhere with the story. And I thought the way that it was set up and the way that it was mapped out would have been great. But unfortunately, because of the way that it started and it kind of took a second to really, really peak, it lost a lot of the crowd. It really, really did. I was excited for this match going into it. I was looking forward to it. Obviously, everybody was expecting Britt Baker to win this match. We all, we could have all guessed that. So I kind of felt personally, kind of reading the audience, or just guess, like an estimated guess, I kind of felt like everyone was really just waiting for that moment when the match would pick up and when we would start kind of getting the sense that Britt Baker was actually going to be winning. I think people were really just waiting for the actual moment. So I don't necessarily think everybody was as focused in the actual match. Again, the crowd was tired, and I did really think that that Shida and Britt were put in a icky spot on the card. And had they literally just at least swapped these matches, given the fact that this match was more important than the Cody Agogo match, I really thought that it would have been done right for it would have done better for them. Like, they deserve to have a good spot, because I know if I go back and I rewatch that match from the beginning, I'm going to be more interested than I was when I was watching live, because I was exhausted. And obviously you guys could tell, whether you're watching on TV or whether you were there live at the show, you can tell that everybody else was too. And we actually have 2 super chats. Thank you so much. This one is from Mike Joyce, who says, Britt won, which was the right decision, but I really hope Hikaru Shida gets a second run with the title and they book her better next time. Yeah, I feel really bad. And this is not something new. I think everybody kind of feels like they really did not I kind of feel like it obviously took them a really, really long time to really do right by Hikaru Shida and actually give her a proper run as champion. And I kind of feel like a lot of it had to do with the fact that they didn't really have their ducks in a row when it came to the AEW women's division. But once people started really speaking out about it and, social media buzz and people really talking about the fact that they want to see more focus on the women's division because it was practically felt non-existent. And then also just like there were so many weeks that you didn't even see Shida or you forgot that she was even champion. Like there was very too little focus on her. So I kind of feel bad that, yeah, she had this long reign, but it was not necessarily a great one. And I hate to say that because it was not her fault. But I do think that maybe down the road, not now, because I do think we need a break, but down the road, I would like to see Shida as champion again, but down the road. We also have another super chat. This one's from Single Blue Note. The Panda didn't send a message, but I appreciate you so much for sending in a super chat. Once again, F4W Online does allow me to keep 100% of the proceeds from all super chats, so it really helps me out, helps pay the bills. We have another super chat from Mike New York who says, Cody match should have been in the buy-in. Yeah, especially considering the fact that Serena Deeb and Riho literally knocked it out of the park. Okay, like they came in and they were pumped, especially Serena. I got to give her props on this one, man. Serena won me over after that match. I felt like I already liked her, but I became a bigger fan of hers after this match. So that's pretty much what I want to get at. So shout out to Mike NY for sending in this super chat. And I believe we have a couple more actually. This one, thank you guys. Yay. This one's from Brian F who says, I know I'm late, but the problem with Cody Ogogo wasn't Ogogo. I rewatched the match today and while green, Ogogo looked pretty good out there. Brian F, you are our hero. You went back and rewatched the match. Dude, we got to send you out a trophy or something. I'm doing a review and I wouldn't even go back and rewatch the match. Look, that was one of the things that I touched on earlier. I felt the exact same way. I don't think that it was Ogogo's fault. Like, yeah, he's still green, but I think we all already knew that. We were all expecting that. So I agree with you. It wasn't really all on him is what I'm trying to get at here. So shout out to Brian F for being awesome enough and sending the super chat. We have another one from Minyal Cifuentes who says, the women's match could have been so much better, but was still good and also maybe a better build to it. But overall, my bae, Dr. Britt Baker won. Yeah, I feel like really the reason why people were just so excited was not necessarily the story being told between Shida and Britt Baker. It was more of just Britt Baker. It was Britt Baker that people wanted to see as champion. And people know that the second Britt Baker became champion, it was going to be this new start to the AEW women's division. She's obviously the face now of that division. And with that comes new stuff, man. New feuds, new stories. It's reviving the division. And people like Britt Baker. People like what she's bringing and what she's been doing. And she's really earned a lot of the fans' respects and admiration and all of that. So I really feel that it wasn't necessarily anything like the story between Shida and Britt Baker, because didn't really feel like there really was a strong one there. It was more so the fact that people just wanted to see Britt Baker win. So bam, we got it. So thank you so much to Manuel Cifuentes for sending in this super chat. And we have a couple more. Oh my God, you guys are so awesome. This one is from, okay, sorry guys, 1 second. All right, here we go. This one's from Single Blue Note, the Panda, who says, the Cody match should have been a dark match, not even a good enough one for Elevation. Oh man. I can't say I disagree with that. Thank you so much to Single Blue Note, the Panda. We have another one from Mike Lima 777 who says, honestly, Cody's match should have been used for the break match, but I do think using Stadium Stampede last was smart to send the fans home happy. We will get to that. We still have to talk about Stadium Stampede. And I am curious as to what you guys thought, especially the fact that we've had one Stadium Stampede before, and this was the second Stadium Stampede. So I am curious, but we will talk about that in a second once we get to that one. But thank you so much to Mike Lima 777. And okay, we have another one from Luis815TX who says, Hope Rosa is in trouble and continues to feud with Britt. Okay, yeah, I definitely think there's still more that they can tell with Thunder Rosa and with Britt Baker. Oh, yeah, 100%. I still feel like there is a lot more there that they can do. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this next match because, all right, we talked about the fact that the Cody match hurt 2 matches, and that was the TNT Championship match and the AEW Women's Championship match, which, and 2 title matches, okay? But we need to give all of the respect and all of the points and all of the prizes right now to Sting, because Sting was the one that revived this crowd, brought us all back up to celebrate. And, well, obviously we were all celebrating for Britt Baker, obviously, but Sting really was the one that actually really just made this feel so much more exciting, and the fans were losing their minds. And I think anytime that Sting did literally anything, people were just like, oh shit, like he is literally just doing all of this crazy stuff. And then considering his age, I really do feel that Sting essentially chose to come out and basically say, guys, if you thought I was old, hell no, I ain't. I am not old whatsoever. And Sting absolutely proved that in this match. So here we go. Let's talk about Darby Allin and Sting defeating Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. So again, this was a match that brought back people to life here. And there were a lot of epic moments throughout this match. Some of them being right off the bat when Sky suplexed Sting on the ramp, and literally out of nowhere, Sting just pops right back up and literally comes up creepy behind Scorpio Sky. And I still need to go back and like screenshot that or get a picture of that. I'm sure it's already out there in the internet wrestling community, but I thought that that was such an epic moment where everybody was just losing their minds, losing their shit. It was so cool. And then he gets up on those like coins and ends up tossing Sky off of the ramp. So he ends up tossing Sky off the ramp onto Page before doing a diving crossbody on both opponents from those tops of those coins. So that was really, like, that whole portion right there was just enough to tell you, okay, whatever we expected from Sting, we are definitely getting a whole lot more here. Later on in this match, we saw Sky and Page beat down Allin, tossing him all over the place. And then Sting eventually got the hot tag in, and people went nuts again. And he hit a Stinger Splash on both opponents. And then eventually, to get the win, Sting hit the Scorpion Death Drop on Sky. Really good feel-good moment. That's really what it was. And during the post-show media scrum, I did ask Tony Khan. I was real with him. I was like, realistically, when you signed Sting, did you honestly have these expectations? Like, what did you expect from him? Like, realistically, what were your expectations of what you were going to get from Sting once you actually signed him on? According to Tony Khan, he did tell me that he had high expectations. Now, I don't necessarily know how high those expectations were or what was part of those expectations, but he then continues to add the fact that, Sting was very persistent of like, hey, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. He talks about, wanting to do these cinematic matches with him. And I just think little by little, he realized that Sting was capable of a whole lot more. And so he ended up blowing out of the water already those high expectations that Tony Khan had when signing Sting to AEW. So, I mean, it was awesome. Really, really awesome. And let's see what we got here. This one's from Ace Chavarria, who says, thank God Sting knew Cody killed the crowd. That brought him back. Poor Cody. And again, I'm a fan of Cody Rhodes, so I feel bad. But we have one from Edited92 who says, Sting and Darby was a highlight for me. So good seeing Sting return. Hope Sting resets now, though I don't want him to hurt himself. Oh, rest himself, excuse me. Dude, I think he knows. I feel like he knows his limits. Obviously, nobody knows their own bodies more than themselves. So again, I wasn't expecting all of this from Sting, especially I think given what we had heard, that he wasn't able to do stuff and all of that. So I think people kind of started thinking like, oh, maybe he can't. So, but it turns out that obviously he could. So there you go. We saw it last night. All righty, everyone. Someone says that I skipped a couple of super chats. No, I definitely saw them all. But if I skipped your super chat, can you please let me know? But from the looks of it, I definitely got. Oh, here we go. Okay, thank you so much. This one's from Ahmed. Sorry, I did not see this. He says, Sting earned every penny. He made me a child again. I think that for obviously all the little Stingers out there, he definitely brought back like a sense of, I don't even know if, is it nostalgia? Do you want to call it that? I don't know, because when I was seeing Sting just go out there and do stuff, I just started thinking like, man, life is so cool. Like when you like he did the right things to take care of his body and you know, obviously not wrestling for such a long period of time. I don't know. I kind of felt like it was a very, very feel good moment. I felt sort of emotional too. Like you could feel that this was something that doesn't happen every day is what I'm trying to get at here. So thank you so much to Ahmed. I believe that was the only super chat that I missed. If I'm wrong, please let me know. We actually have another one from Lanaya D who says, did anyone ask Tony about his promo on Nick Khan? Has he gotten any feedback? Keep up the great work. Love seeing you across all these channels. Thank you so much, Lanaya D. So they definitely did ask them. And he did say that he talked to New Japan about it. And apparently, like, they were fine with it. So that was pretty interesting. But part of me was, like, curious as to how he actually meant that. I don't know if he meant that as, like, Tony Khan, like himself, or Tony Khan, the Impact version that we see where he does these promos. So it was kind of hard for me to read them there, but I will also be posting. I know that people have already posted some of the clips from the post media scrum, so you can definitely check that out. But I will be posting some as well in high quality video coming up soon. And let's see. Okay, somebody said that I did miss a couple of super chats. If I missed your super chat, please let me know, because I do not want to miss anybody's super chat. But I'm pretty sure I saw all of them because they pop up here on my screen here. So I just want to make sure we're good. All right, guys, let's go ahead. And someone says I missed one from Jake Ron. I missed one from Jake Ron. Jake Ron, if you are there, please send in a comment with what your super chat said, and I will definitely go ahead and read it, because apparently I missed one from Jake Ron. Okay, here we go, guys. And let's go ahead and move on. He says send to. Oh, man. Jake Ron, please let me know what you sent. Just write it out regularly. You do not have to send another super chat, and I will definitely go ahead and read it. I'm so sorry that I missed that super chat there. So just let me know what it said on there, and I will definitely go ahead and read it. I will look out for your name on here. Okay. Alrighty, guys. Here we go. Okay, so after this, we had the AEW World Championship match, and it was Kenny Omega. Okay, so Jake Ron says his comment was about the women's match. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I did not see your super chat. I feel terrible. Really, really terrible. I'm so sorry, man. Okay, so AEW World Championship match, Kenny Omega defeated Orange Cassidy and Pac, and I'll just say this right now. I am not going to do this match any justice in terms of really, really showing everything that happened on this actual show. I mean, on this actual match with it, because they did so much, guys. But I do want to take a second and really put over the person that, even though I thought that Orange Cassidy, Kenny Omega, and Pac all really got out there and all had the proper time to shine, proper time to really show their skills and what they can do. They showed their strengths, essentially. Whatever each of these guys' strengths are, they amplified it 100 times in this match. And that's really, I think, what made this match really phenomenal, is that each guy got amplified to like the 10th degree. So that was really cool. But with that being said, I need to shout out Pac, because I actually thought that Pac was the one that essentially he just stood out, guys. He stood out so much. He did so much cool stuff in here. I was just blown away. We have a super chat from Ahmad Al-Yafai, who says, that was the gift of Omega. Drink it, man. Dude, this is the thing. Like, this is why people have been wanting Kenny Omega to be champion. For a long time, I think that they were obviously holding off on it, and it took a while for them to actually, pull the plug with Kenny Omega and go with it. And this is definitely proof that I feel like, dang, they should have even done it sooner. Like, in my eyes, they should have even done it sooner. But it really was good stuff here. And then Jake Ron basically says that his super chat was that it was not controversial when I said that it was going to be controversial. Okay, thank you so much, Jake Ron. Shout out to you, man, for sending in your super chat that I unfortunately missed. Okay, and let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this match here. So some of my favorite parts was when Pac and Omega went at it right at the top of this match, and Orange Cassidy literally is chill, being himself, the Orange Cassidy that we all know and love. And I love the fact that there was a moment where both men were down, both Pac and Kenny Omega, and Orange Cassidy came and he literally tried to get the pin on both of them, and he couldn't. I thought that was pretty hilarious, especially because everybody in the crowd was like, that was three. So that was really cool too. And then also, another part that I really liked about this match was really all of the near falls that we got. I thought that they did a lot of near falls with Orange Cassidy in particular, and all of them, there were a couple there that felt really, really close, like where I thought, like, I wasn't expecting Kenny Omega to lose, okay? Like, I was not expecting Kenny Omega to lose, but there were a couple of those near falls where I was like, oh, what if I'm wrong? Like, what if I'm wrong? Like, what if I just don't think, what if I'm completely wrong here? Like, they made me second guess myself, which to me makes me happy because I don't want to always feel like I know what's going to happen or what I assume is going to happen. So I really did like all of this. Also, in terms of, some of the things that Pac did during this match that I really liked was that he really pulled out like every move in his arsenal. We saw an Avalanche Falcon Arrow. We saw Fosbury Flop. We saw a Black Arrow. I mean, just a lot of really cool stuff from Pac overall here. All right, 1 second, guys. Let me just send a quick message because, all right. Okay, guys, sorry. It's because I'm hearing an echo from my TV in the living room, so I was just hoping that it would go down a little bit. So that's fine. I will continue on. I hope nobody can hear that. All right, here we go, guys. BTW, before we move on, friendly reminder, if you have not yet subscribed to the F4W Twitch channel, if you have not yet subscribed to the F4W YouTube channel, make sure you guys go ahead and do so, especially on YouTube as well, because I do go live 3 times a week unless AEW is preempted. I talk about NXT, I talk about AEW, I talk about Smackdown, and just a lot of content is being posted up. Also, for those of you who do not know, we now also have an Instagram page and a TikTok page. That is right, we are now on TikTok too. So both of the handles for both Instagram and TikTok are at WONF4W, which is the exact same Twitter handle. If you search that in on Twitter or on Instagram, you will go ahead and find it. So make sure you guys go ahead and follow. We post like all of the news and stuff like that, so you guys won't miss when anything breaks. We have another super chat from Ahmed who says, never bought into Omega until this pay-per-view. Bravo. What? Oh, that's crazy. I always feel like I actually kind of find it hard to believe just because, like, I feel like everybody loves Kenny Omega, but that's really cool, though, that even if there are some people out there that necessarily weren't completely sold on him, they definitely were after tonight. So that's really awesome. And again, somebody else mentioned the magic of Kenny Omega. So thank you so much to Ahmed for sending in those super chats there. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on. All right, so we also have a couple of announcements that were being made, which we have AEW Full Gear was announced. It is going to be happening November 6th in St. Louis, so that should be really fun. We also had the reveal that Tony Schiavone introduced Mark Henry as the newest analyst for AEW Rampage, the company's newest TNT show that is kicking off this August on TNT on Fridays. Also, announced for AEW Dynamite this coming week, we are going to be seeing Dustin Rhodes versus Nick Comoroto in a bull rope match. That should be pretty fun. Young Bucks versus Pac and Penta and Cero Miedo. That should be a hella fun match. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson's versus Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson versus QT Marshall and Anthony Ogogo. I hope this is decent. And of course, a Dr. Britt Baker DMD championship celebration. Also, in 2 weeks, we are getting Kenny Omega versus Jungle Boy. So now let's go ahead and jump into the final segment of today's show. BTW, here we go. It is now time to talk about the Stadium Stampede. So I'm going to kind of run through a couple of what I thought were some cool moments, but what I really want to get at here is how you guys felt about it. What were some of your favorite portions of this actual match? And did you like it more than the first one, or is the first one still superior to you? First and foremost, so we have the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. If the Inner Circle loses, the Inner Circle disbands. Personally, my prediction was that the Pinnacle was going to win. I wanted to be surprised. I wanted to be shocked. I wanted to move in a new direction, but I was wrong. Instead, we had the Inner Circle win here tonight. And before I recap a couple of the moments, we do have a super chat from Brandon Rosen, who says, now that the Inner Circle won, where does the Pinnacle go from here? I understand AEW wanting to send the fans home happy, but what about the story? Well, based on what I know, and I know that when Jericho was on Wrestling Observer Radio with Dave and Brian, he did talk about the fact that they have a long plan for this. And in the post-media scrum, Jericho said that he feels that the story between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle is the best story right now happening on AEW. He feels it's the best story. And he also said on his interview in Wrestling Observer Radio that he does think that it's going to be lasting several months. Now, I don't know how long. He didn't want to obviously spoil as to when or how long we can expect this to last. But I really did think that they were going to pull the plug there and do something else, especially because I didn't really feel like they should have been 50-50 booking the Pinnacle. I thought if you really, really want to do something with the Pinnacle, you should make them strong as hell. And what better way to make them the top, like even better heels and make them really the top heel stable is by being those guys that essentially were the reason why Inner Circle broke up. So I actually thought it would have made a little bit more of an impact, but of course you want to end the crowd on a feel-good moment. So I totally get that as well. So thank you so much to Brandon for sending in this super chat. All righty, so here we go, guys. A couple of awesome moments here. So kick-ass entrance from the Inner Circle. They literally come down the advertisement board. They if they're practically bungee jumping. I mean, they weren't bungee jumping, but it kind of looked like it for a second. And they have the Judas music playing. So it was a pretty fun, kind of really felt like a cool music video. I really liked the entrance. I thought that it was awesome. But one of the things that really was the main takeaway from this is that the way that this was shot. So for the most of this actual match, we the live audience, we're just watching on the screen, just like everybody watching back home. And to me, the best way that I can actually describe the Stadium Stampede is it kind of felt like a very like if you got a bunch of TikToks and pieced them all together and made this long thread. That's kind of what it felt like they did this, where you had like two guys doing something, okay, then they dissolved into this next portion, and then into this next portion. So the way that they shot and edited this felt very different than the first Stadium Stampede, which I don't know if I liked it more or disliked it more. I appreciated it. It was more of just like I kind of felt like it kind of went into a rhythm too much. And I don't like the idea of it being a rhythm where I know that it's going to go from one portion of a story to the next. Like I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more unpredictable per se. So we have a super chat from Ahmed, who says, Ment wasn't convinced of Omega as a champion till now. Oh, okay. Thank you. So sorry. Sometimes it happens, spelling error. So thank you so much to Ahmed for sending in that clarification. We also have a super chat from Jamie, who says Sammy and Spears were definitely the highlight. Okay, thank you, Jamie, for bringing this up. So obviously I love the way that they close things off, with the golf cart and all of that. I did, however, think though that the portion of this when they were in the actual room with all of the chairs, I did think that could have been a little bit cooler. I think just given the visual overall of being in this giant room with all of these chairs, I think they could have done a lot more and been a little bit more creative with that. So that one I did kind of feel a little bit overwhelmed. I don't even think they were probably my favorite of the night. Obviously Jericho and MJF definitely did a lot more. Jericho putting MJF in the trash can, the whole thing with Urban Meyer, hitting him with the computer, stapling that note on MJF's face. MJF accidentally hitting Shad Khan's poster. I mean, there were a lot of moments there, but then I also really liked what Wardlow and Jake Hager did. I thought what they did was pretty cool too, where they were kind of like but they had the freezer and they would get into the meat freezer, get out of the meat freezer. That was pretty awesome too. And then also, I think it was Wardlow that was hitting him with or they were hitting each other with those cartons. I thought that looked really, really awesome. So I actually kind of liked those moments just a little bit more than the Sammy Sean Spear thing. We have another super chat from Manuel Cifuentes who says, hands down, last year's was better. This year's just felt too rushed and too staged. Honestly, the triple threat should have ended the show. # long live cartoons. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to get at. It felt too staged. It makes perfect sense because I was trying to find a way to describe it in the sense that I felt like it did feel a little bit too predictable. Like, okay, we're going to get this sequence of events, then we're moving on to this sequence of events, versus it didn't feel like an actual flow. It felt like we were just watching a bunch of clips. And so I think had they not done it that way, it would have been a little bit more entertaining. But then again, obviously, given the fact that they had to weave in the live portion of the show, probably explains why they actually did this. High Score Run says TikTok match. Yeah, there you go. It was a TikTok match. You could literally take each of those clips and upload them on TikTok, literally. We have another super chat from Redmond Survivor who says, Stadium Stampede was very poetic. A cinematic match, which has been a staple of the pandemic era, transitioning into a live match. It felt like a farewell to the pandemic era and the start of a new chapter. I didn't even see it that way. And you know what? Now that you say this, that is pretty interesting. So let's talk about the live portion of this. Obviously, we had Jericho and MJF fighting in the crowd. That looked pretty cool, especially because I was like literally right underneath where MJF was like taunting to throw Jericho off. So that looked pretty cool. But again, whenever you go to a wrestling show and they're fighting in between the crowds and all of that, it's really hard to see what's going on, and you're looking around and you're like, which direction are they coming in? I can't see, what floor are they on? I mean, it took forever to spot them and for them to actually get to a point where you could actually see them. But obviously that's how it is whenever, you have talent wrestling within the crowds. I did like seeing MJF, taunting like he was going to throw Jericho off. I did think that was cool. But then even after all of that, and they went back to the in-ring stuff with Sean Spears and Sammy Guevara after the whole golf cart thing, I found it like the crowd sort of was not really paying attention to what was going on in the ring. And we were all supposed to be paying attention to what was going on in the ring, but everybody kind of kept looking back to where Jericho and MJF had just been at, because everybody was sort of expecting them to do something else or for something else to happen. It didn't feel like enough crowd interaction it just didn't feel that way. It kind of felt like you were waiting for something else to happen. So I noticed that when the finish actually happened between Sammy and Spears, I missed it. Like a lot of people, I think, were not even looking when the finish actually happened. So it was one of those things where I felt like everybody was looking in a different direction. So that's kind of the one thing that I didn't necessarily like. And I mean, I kind of expected it to happen though, because a lot of people were talking about the fact that, a lot of people were talking about the fact that it was going to be different and they were going to do some parts that were, pre-taped and some parts that, were in the live audience. So that's pretty much how that all went down. I think for the live audience, it necessarily wasn't, a blow away thing. obviously the Sammy Sean Spears spot that was probably like the big, like exciting moment for everybody. But then again, if you're like on the opposite side of where that all happened, it probably didn't look as cool than the people that were a lot closer. So it was definitely a lot different for people. But yeah, it was definitely like Jack Napier says, the main event was essentially on the screen. And I know a couple people are talking about the fact that some people left. So I did kind of notice that a couple people, once the Stadium Stampede started playing on screen, I don't know if they just left to go home or if they left to just go like get food or something. I don't know. Like last call, go get some food, go get some merch. I don't know. But I did see like a chunk of people when that thing started, like when the Stadium Stampede started playing on the screen. I did see a chunk of people like pass through my section where it was kind of like, where are these people going? Like, don't they know there's still one match left? So I don't know if that was a turnoff for some people. I have no idea. I can't understand why. Like, I get it. You want to see it live, but at the same time, it's like, either way, you were still going to watch the Stadium Stampede. So I did think it was a little bit weird. Gon Cass has a question, says, did they have dark matches after the pay-per-view ended? No. But they did have, and I don't know if this was shown on TV, actually. I don't know. Did you guys all get the whole Jericho, basically talking about like everything that's been going on like the past year? I don't think that was on TV because I looked and commentary wasn't there anymore. So I think that was literally just for us. But basically, like, he came out and he was just thanking everybody. He was thanking everybody for being there and for, just everything that we had to go through and how awesome it feels to have a crowd back. That was kind of like the gist of what he says, the perfect, baby face, thank you for being here sort of thing, but with a passion behind it. We have another super chat from Juan Garcia who says, in the beginning, Sammy and Santana and Ortiz benefited from being part of the inner circle, and now they are being hindered by being in the group. Should have ended last night. See, that's exactly how I felt for a very long time, because even in the Stadium Stampede, Santana and Ortiz, like, they had that brawl backstage in the bar, and with FTR and Tully, and even then, like, wasn't even anything like completely crazy. I mean, it was cool. They were all fighting back there. You had Conan as the DJ. They took some drinks, but it wasn't anything like what they did in the previous Stadium Stampede. And I did think they could have done more. I think a lot more of the focus in this Stadium Stampede was really more so on MJF and Jericho, which obviously they're the main people and they're the main ones in the storyline, but it's a Stadium Stampede. So I did want to see more of the other members do cool stuff, because that's what makes it exciting. So in terms of like which Stadium Stampede I personally preferred, I definitely I feel like I really like the first one a whole lot more than the second one, to be honest. That's really, really how I felt about all of that. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Send in your last comments, everyone. That is pretty much our show overall. So if you have any last comments, send them in. Someone wants to know if I sang Judas. No, I was a little shy, so I just bobbed my head. It takes me a second. Like, sometimes I'll be a little too shy to sing out loud, and then sometimes I will sing, sometimes I won't sing. It just depends on my mood. How shy am I for the day? That sort of depends on all of that. Okay, let's see. We got a comment from Chris Cage, who says, Stadium Stampede 2021 is a balance of comedy and seriousness with high stakes on the line for Inner Circle. Inner Circle won, but what's next? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I think so too. And let's see what else we got here. Oh, people want to know my thoughts on Mark Henry joining AEW. So I saw a couple people asking this. So someone says, no offense, please don't sing. Yeah, I'm not a great singer, all right? I'm not a great singer. I know my skills. All right. Honestly, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I feel like this is a natural step it feels like a natural step for Mark Henry, especially considering that he's been doing, a lot more like podcast work and all of that type of stuff. So I thought it was a nice addition to have him in there. And then even during the post-media scrum, he was there the entire time. The entire time he was there. I even thought that he was going to come out and speak. I was kind of waiting for him to hit the stage, but he didn't. But he was there and he listened to what everybody had to say. So we got to talk to Jungle Boy, Britt Baker, Tony Khan, Jericho, and I think that was it, actually. Yeah, that was it. And I really did think, though, that Mark Henry was going to sort of take part in this, but no, he was just kind of standing there, listening to everything that was being said, and taking pictures of Britt Baker when she was on the stage, which was pretty cool too. So you can tell that he's pretty passionate about what he's doing and joining the company. Just even the fact that he didn't have to be there, and he was there. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is a super chat from Brandon, who says, happy Memorial Day, just tuned in. Absolutely loved Double or Nothing. Loved hearing the fans sing Jericho's song. I will tell you guys this, though. It was definitely very, very weird being in a audience with people at a wrestling show. I have not been around that many people in forever. It definitely felt super, super weird. It took me took a bit to kind of get used to it and register the whole thing. So it was a little bit interesting, but I had a really, really good time, and I hope I can make it to All Out. I don't know yet, so hopefully I do get to make it to All Out. So thank you so much to Brandon for sending in this super chat as well. And all right, guys, I think I got everybody's super chats in here. Guys, thank you guys so much. Actually, before we wrap up this stream, don't forget to subscribe to F4W Video with your Prime account. Get all the perks you deserve, everybody. Make sure you do so. Thank you all so much for joining my stream, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or listening to the audio version of this. I really, really thank you. Without you guys, I don't know where my shows would be or how, where I would be. So I really just thank you guys so much for supporting me each and every single week. I invite you all to check out my show, Speak Now Pro Wrestling, whether I'm on YouTube, whether I'm on Twitch, whatever is going on for that week, please make sure to check it out. Again, I cover NXT on Tuesdays, AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays, and Friday Night Smackdown on Friday. Unless AEW is preempted, I will be doing AEW Dynamite and Friday Night Smackdown on the exact same night. Again, that is over on YouTube. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. If you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead and follow me. Until next time, I'll see you guys all later. Bye, everyone.